What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, January 26th. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for another big old stack of books and some other goodies as well. Real quick, guys, if you are in the US and you don't have your own comic shop and you need one, reach out to Infinity Flux. They do ship all over the country. Wherever you're watching this, YouTube or Instagram or whatever, they'll be linked or tagged, or there will be some way to get over to them and contact them. So like I said, if you don't have your own shop or if you need a better one, reach out to them, let them know what you're looking for, and they will do their best to get it for you. But let's get right into this because it was a big day, some super cool goodies and a lot of cool books. So starting with Marvel, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 87. I just finished reading this one and I'm continuing to really enjoy the Beyond storyline, although this one is more focused on Peter getting back into the saddle of Spider-Man. He's been in a coma for a little while. He's healing up, but he's certainly not back to 100% of himself, of being Spider-Man. So Captain America and Black Cat help, not really train him, but just help him get back into the swing of things. I just thought about that. But this is still really fun. I typically don't like stories where heroes lose their powers. I've never liked those kinds of stories, even as a kid. But this one, he didn't lose his powers, but he's not 100%. But even so, we still have all the Ben Reilly stuff with him as Spider-Man, working for the Beyond Corporation, finding out the shady stuff they're doing. And some interesting things happen. Well, they happened last issue, but we see the results of that in this issue. So just another really good issue of Spider-Man. The Death of Doctor Strange number 5. I think this is the last one of these, or maybe a 6-issue miniseries. I'm not sure. I think I've read all the other ones up till now. I just didn't have a chance to read this before this video. I didn't have a chance to read a lot of the books I wanted to before this. But if this is the end, or if it's right at the end, I'm very much looking forward to this. As you guys know, I haven't enjoyed the tie-ins really, but the main series has been pretty cool, and I can't wait to see how it wraps up. Devil's Reign number 3. So I did read this one right before this video, and this is still a really interesting series. Kingpin is the mayor of New York. He's outlawed superheroes. Some of them have been arrested. Some have gone underground, and they're still trying to figure out how to deal with that. There's some stuff going on with the Purple Man. Doc Ock is working with the Kingpin, but he's got his own thing that he's doing too. So just another really good book, really good story, and yeah, I'm just excited for the next few bits. I'm behind on the tie-ins, but the main series is really good. And then speaking of tie-ins, Devil's Reign and Winter Soldier. From what I understand, from what they mentioned in the main Devil's Reign issue this time, I guess Winter Soldier infiltrates Kingpin's apartment or office or something. So I haven't read this yet. Again, I had to get the chance. But I can't wait to catch up on this one and the other tie-ins as well. Iron Man number 16, another series I'm way behind on. But actually, I'm almost caught up on Dan Slott's Fantastic Four run. I only have just maybe 5 issues left of that, and then I can jump into this one. It's only on number 16, so it shouldn't take any time at all to get caught up. And still with these awesome Alex Ross A covers, that is really cool. Mary Jane and Black Cat number 1. This one was super fun. I read it a little while ago. I think it's just a one-shot. This runs parallel with this week's issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Mary Jane and Black Cat have to team up because the Hood is threatening to kill Peter if they don't help him get his hood back. So they have to go on an adventure to try to find out where it is, how to get it. I would love for this to be a miniseries or even an ongoing, because these two characters are fantastic. Mary Jane is such a great character. I'm so glad that she is back with Peter. I love in Amazing Spider-Man how they need each other, how they help each other be better people. And then Black Cat, she has a complex relationship with Peter. It's just really good, and I love seeing these two characters together. This one was really fun. X Deaths of Wolverine number 1. So kind of like X Lives of Wolverine number 1, which I still haven't read yet. I have a little bit of buyer's remorse because I haven't read, well, I've read almost none of the other X-Men series except for X-Men proper. I don't know if I need this one right now or if I can just catch up with this one the way I'm catching up with the rest of it, just through digital means. But I went ahead and pre-ordered it, so I'll give it a shot. I don't know that I'll finish out the series because, like I said, I'm way behind on all the rest of the X books, but, nice Mark Bagley trading card variant. I thought I'd try it out. And then speaking of the only X-Men book I'm reading right now is X-Men number 7, and I don't even really know if I need this. just because, like I said, I haven't read any of the other X-Men books, so it's a little disjointed for me. It's really good. It's a fun story. I'm just not as getting much out of it as I think I would if I was reading the rest of the X books, or at least some of them. But I will give this a shot and see if I should get the next issue. So as for DC, it was a huge DC day, maybe the biggest one I've had yet. Last week I said that it was the smallest DC day last week, and this one makes up for it. So we're going to start with Action Comics number 1039. I think this is part 4 of the War World saga, and it's so good. Superman and his new authority that he's put together, they're on War World. They are basically prisoners / gladiators. The planet is imbued with the effects of a red sun, which means Superman is basically powerless. But even though he's powerless, he still never gives up hope. He makes a vow to rescue all of the other beings, aliens, creatures, whatever, that are also imprisoned with him. It's amazing. The art's fantastic. It's very gladiatorial. It's kind of reminiscent of the movie Gladiator, with him, being trained up in weapons and having to figure out how to manage this whole situation. I'm really enjoying this storyline. This is probably some of the best Superman I've read in quite a while. Batwoman, Catwoman special. I thought this maybe went with Batman, Catwoman, the maxi series, but from what I saw of Tom King on Twitter, he said it's meant to be read all on its own. This is the last. I think it's the last work by John Paul Leon. I think this is the very last work. I'm not 100% sure on that. So, but what Tom King made it sound like on Twitter, you don't have to have read anything else to read this. So I may go ahead and just crack this one open. This should be a pretty good one. Deathstroke Inc. number 5. I didn't get the chance to read this one yet, but I am caught up on this series up till now. It's pretty interesting. The last issue was kind of weird, but I'm going to stick with this one for a while because I'm interested in the Shadow War crossover that's going to happen between this and Batman and Robin, the Batman book and the Robin book. I don't think it's a very long crossover. I think there's maybe one like alpha issue or something, and then this. So, but even outside of that, it's a good book. I like Deathstroke. I like Black Canary, and it's fun to see what they're getting into together, and especially the organization they're working for, kind of like the Beyond Corporation in Amazing Spider-Man. They're up to some shady stuff as well, and these characters are trying to figure out what that is. Detective Comics number 1050. So this is continuing the Arkham Tower storyline, which is still pretty good. I still think I'm not getting as much out of it as I would have had I read everything leading up to it, which I'm going to. They're actually, I now have them in a box now over there, so I'm about to start catching up on all the Tiny and Era Bat books. But the Arkham Tower story is still fun. I don't love the time jumps in it. So it keeps saying, I think the first part was like day 12 and then day 24. This issue, there's like day 15, but it jumps to day 15 twice. The first time is like 6:30 in the morning, and then the second time is like 4 hours before that. So the time is jumping around all over the place. I don't love that. It makes it a little bit confusing, but it's still interesting. What I like better about this issue is it has a preview of the new Batman Superman World's Finest series coming from Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora, which is so cool because it takes place in the past, right? Like not ancient past or whatever, but it's just in the past. Batman's still in the blue and gray with the yellow oval. Superman is totally classic. They fight Poison Ivy and Metallo, and Robin's there, although he's wearing pants, but the rest of him is typical Robin. That was super cool. I can't wait for that series. I think it's in March. So everything about this book was really good. The Flash number 778. I'm way behind on this, so obviously I haven't read this one, but I have been working on catching up on the entire run of the Flash from Rebirth all the way till now. So whenever I get back to that, I'm gonna I was reading these newer issues, and then I was gonna go back, but I'm just gonna keep going back from the beginning of that all the way through this, and so I can get the full extent of it. Justice League number 71. So I actually had just dropped Justice League from my pull list when it was announced that Justice League was ending with number 75 and the whole death of the Justice League thing. So I figured I'll just stick with it for another, 4 issues or so. So I'm way behind on it, but I'm going to ride it out through 75 because I'm kind of interested in that death of the Justice League storyline, even though I kind of feel like it's a little bit played out. Superheroes are dying. Oh, sure, I'm so sure they're going to stay dead. But I'm interested anyway. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, so I'm just going to finish out the series. Peacemaker Disturbing the Peace. This is a Black Label one-shot. I got this because I've been loving the Peacemaker series on HBO Max. And I'm just, you know, I was on a Peacemaker high when I saw this, so I picked it up off the shelf. Although, foolishly, I got it and then realized it was released today also on the DC Universe Infinite app, so I could have just read it that way instead of having to pay the $6 for this. But it's fine. I just want to read a good story, and I liked it. It's a one-shot. Like, I wasn't going to get it if it were a mini-series. But it's a one and done. It's this book, and that's it, so I can't wait to read that. Robin number 10, we're done with the martial arts tournament storyline, and now Robin is learning a little bit more about his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, his grandfather's past, and Ra's al Ghul's mother's past as well. So a lot of it is, a lot of it takes place like in the mindscape, you know. His great-grandmother has invaded his mind to show him sort of how Ra's al Ghul became the head of the demon. Just where all that came from. We learned a little bit more about the Lazarus pits and that kind of stuff. So this was a little bit more story heavy than it was action heavy, but it was still really good. Superman 78 number 6. So this is the last issue of this series. I'm way behind on it, but now that it's all done, I'm just going to stack them up, read them all at once, and it should be fun. Superman and Robin Special number 1. So this book was fine. This takes place, I think, after issue 2 of Superman, Son of Kal-El, and right around issue 3 of Robin. I think this book is mainly just for the nostalgia of the Super Sons. John Kent, Damian Wayne, you know, they had a great run in Super Sons together. This book is really just them in the Fortress of Solitude having to deal with some monsters and some other things that come through this portal, and how do they deal with that and get them all back in. That's pretty much the whole book. It was fine, but it didn't really, you know, add any new elements to any of the stories for either of these characters. But it was still a fun read. So, you know, if you like these characters and you're enjoying their titles, I think you should like this. Teen Titans Academy number 11. This is one that I really need to drop because I'm just not enjoying it. It's fine, but there's so much focus on so many characters, none of whom I know who they are. So it just sort of takes me out of the story a little bit, although they are teasing things to come. I think this ties in with this whole World War III or Battle for, no, it's War for Earth 3 or Battle for Earth 3, I think. Crossover with Suicide Squad, and I thought something else. Maybe I'll stick with it through that, but I just don't love this book. And then last for DC, Wonder Girl number 7. So I actually had planned on stopping this after issue 6 because that was the end of the first story arc, and then was going to read the rest in trade because I do like Yara Flor. I love the art, I love the story in this book. It just wasn't one I needed to read right when it came out every month. And then they announced that number 7 was the last issue. It's getting canceled with number 7. So I thought, I'll just write it out, one more issue, and I've got the whole run of this so far. So it was a slightly smaller Image and Indies day, although I think they probably will be from here on out, because I finally got to the point, at least with Image and the indie stuff, where I'm reading most of that stuff in trade. So I know I buy a bunch of superhero books. It's not that I just only love superhero stuff. I love these indie books as well, but most of them are better read in one nice big story that you can just consume all at once, and that's just how I prefer to read those. So I have a couple here, but most of them are going to be in trade later on. So Gunslinger Spawn number 4. I still haven't caught up on all the Spawn stuff, but maybe after Fantastic Four and after Iron Man, and maybe after all my Batmans over there, maybe I'll jump on Spawn. Stray Dogs number 2 with this awesome Trick or Treat homage cover. I loved the first one of these, so I wasn't sure what this series was at first. Stray Dog Dog Days number 1 it doesn't really run parallel with the last series, but it gives us a little peek behind some of the other dogs from the first series and how they came to be in the house from the first series as well. So I expect that this one will be more of this. This is only, this is the end of, this is like a tiny little 2-issue series. Hopefully we get more after this because I love Stray Dogs, so I cannot wait to jump on this one. And then as for the other indies, we've got He Who Fights with Monsters number 5. I haven't read past the first issue. I didn't love the first issue, but the story does sound interesting, and I can't pass up these classic Fantastic Four homage variants. So I don't know if this is the end of it or not. If it's an ongoing, I need to drop it at some point. But for now, I just can't resist these covers. So 2 books that I wasn't even expecting today because they are part of Bad Ideas Final 5. Monster Kill Squad number 3 and Pirate Queen number 4. Pirate Queen number 4. So I haven't read either one of these yet, But I think this is the end of both of them. I might be wrong about that, though. I've heard good things about both, especially Pirate Queen. A lot of people like that, so now that I've got them all, I just need to jump on and finish them out. And then House of Slaughter number 4. I actually don't remember if I read the third one. It was sitting on my table over there. I'm not sure where it is now. But this is a good story. I think it might be better read in trade, so I don't know if I'm going to stick with this one month to month like I am with Something Is Killing the Children. I'm not even sure that I'm going to stick with that one month to month after a while, because it's a fantastic story. It's just so much better read all at once. But I am interested in at least the first arc. I'm going to finish that out, figure out what Aaron is going to do about having to kill, or being ordered to kill, his friend or not. Let's see what he does. I'm not too sure, but I'm excited to check it out. And then a couple books from the dollar bins. I just picked up Blue Devil number 2, number 3, and number 4, just because they had a few of them, and I have Blue Devil number 1 that I got maybe out of a dollar bin. I'm not sure where it came from. But yeah, 2, 3, and 4 was there for $1. I thought, yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and maybe I'll build that run someday. But oh boy, the fun does not stop there. We got some collected editions as well. So The Wake from Scott Snyder and Sean Murphy. This does sound familiar. The title sounds familiar. Reading the synopsis sounds familiar. But I can't remember where I heard it before. I wasn't aware this was coming out. Infinity Flux always has some awesome collected editions sitting on the counter. I saw this one. Scott Snyder, Sean Murphy. Could not pass it up. The art is fantastic. I'm sure the story's going to be great. This is more of a sci-fi bin. It's published under DC's Vertigo label, which means it's probably going to be a little bit more dark and adult, which is fantastic. But yeah, it's a little bit more sci-fi than superhero-y kind of thing. But with this creative team, I couldn't pass that up. Gen 13 starting over, the deluxe edition hardcover. So this is old school Gen 13 from back in the 90s when it was part of Image. It's under DC now because DC owns Wildstorm. But I'm filing this with Image stuff because I still have my original Gen 13 books and they were part of Image. This collects Gen 13 numbers 1/2 and only issues 0 through 5. I thought there was more than that, but I guess I should have checked that first. But still, Gen 13 was pretty cool. It was, back in the day, it was one of those that came out very sporadically. It was very late, just like every other Image book back then. I'm not even sure which ones I have, but I thought I would check out all of this in one edition. So then a total impulse buy, one that I wasn't aware was even out, or that I didn't know that I wanted, but it was sitting there, not even on the counter, just kind of like with some other books, and I just walked past it and thought, man, that's too good to pass up. Justice League International Omnibus Volume 1. So I've only read a few issues from this series, the first maybe 5 or 6 maybe, but this is classic. This is, such a great book, a very well-regarded series from Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis. This collects Justice League 1 through 6, and then when it switched over to Justice League International 7 through 25, and then when it switched to Justice League of America 26 through 30. So basically, just the post-crisis Justice League, like the first 30 issues of that, with this awesome team. There was a little bit more humor in this book than there had been in past Justice League stories, and like I said, I've only read a few, but when I saw just this nice big collection there, I had to have it. So the last thing is kind of an interesting pickup, and this is why my comic shop is awesome, because when they see cool stuff like this, it's available for order, even if they don't know what it is, they order it. And then people like me who see this kind of stuff and don't know what it is, but think it looks interesting, buy it. So this is, and I'm gonna sort of stand back a little bit, this is DC's famous first edition. This is you can see it's not very thick, but it is big. So if we compare a comic to, that size, it's even bigger than an omnibus, not thickness wise, but just, size wise. But this actually, and I'm gonna look from the back, the 1935 landmark all original content comic in first ever comic book from DC. 85th Anniversaries collection. So it's basically, I guess it's like a reprinting of New Fun, the big comic magazine. So basically what this is, and this is huge, I think this is kind of like the size, if anybody is familiar with the volume of Wednesday comics that came out several years ago, it's kind of like that. So basically it's a big magazine that has like different comic strips in it, and this is 3 years before Superman, so there might be some pulp hero stuff in it, but there's definitely no superheroes at all. But it's all printed on like almost heavy cardstock newsprint, almost. The paper is very rough, but it's got a good thickness to it, and it's just a bunch of comic strips that was in this magazine, I guess, back in 1935. There is some like articles as well, and you know, some classic advertisements, articles about all different kinds of stuff, sports, and on the radio, in the movies, some articles like that with all these classic advertisements in it with other little comic strips and things like that. So just, yeah, I just thought it was so cool. We sort of looked at it together at my shop because the Marvelous Megan, who was there, she wasn't quite sure, I wasn't quite sure. So we looked at it together and just thought, yeah, that's really cool. And I just, you know, for the price, it was like 20 bucks for this nice collected edition of just like classic stuff. I just love stuff that reflects the history of comic books, and what better to reflect the history of comic books than DC's first ever comic book or magazine or whatever you want to call it. So this is a cool pickup. I'm going to read through this and maybe do some like TikTok stuff or something like that. So guys, that is it. Another awesome haul, but a really, really good one. So guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. And if nothing else, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you picked up today. Did you find any, you know, strange but really interesting finds like this one? Any Impulse omnibuses, dollar issues, whatever, whatever it is, just let me know. Just leave a comment, let me know what you picked up. I love comic books. I can talk about it with a room full of people or just to a camera. And guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They're just another fun form of storytelling. There is plenty to look through so that everybody can find something that they like. And it's super duper easy to ignore the things that you don't. If you're not into the Death of the Justice League series coming up in a couple months, just don't read it. Just wait until they all come back, which they inevitably will. But you know, if something doesn't tickle your fancy, just simply ignore it and let everybody else enjoy it. Also, don't forget, it doesn't matter how much you buy each week or each month. What makes a good comic book haul is that the stuff matters to you and it gets you excited. So whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books, like I said, it doesn't matter. As long as the stuff that you get is really special and gets you really pumped to read comic books, that's what makes a great comic book haul. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.